Hello, I'm Bernard Keevy. I wanted to explain today about how using a very small number of strategies and making very small improvements in 5 key areas of your business, you could double your profit, your bottom line profit, in well under 12 months, and this works for any small business. So this magic number here is the 8 strategies we're talking about. These numbers here are all the strategies we could choose from, which are part of our e-learning academy, our sales and marketing academy. So there's loads to choose from, but we find that just using 8 of them out of many, like virtually 100 here or more, 8 of them will actually achieve these results. Now the way it works is, if you know your number of leads and you know how many you convert, what proportion, that tells you your number of customers. So here, 10 leads converting 50% means we've got 5 customers. We know that they buy 100 times a year off us, so that's the number of transactions, and they spend £100 each time. And if we know that, that will tell us our turnover is 50,000. And if we know that we make gross margin on everything we sell, which is basically the mini profit, if you like, on everything you sell, so the costs of making it and the difference between that and the price you sell it for. If we know our gross margin is 60%, then our gross profit would be 30,000. If we know we've got £10,000 worth of other overheads, so that could be things like wages or rent and rates or leasing costs, then our net profit would be 20,000. Now, all we need to do is make very small improvements in some of these key areas. So let's just stick at 10%, which is very doable. We would take our leads up from 10 to 11. We would take our conversion rate up from 50 to 55%. That would give us 6 customers. We would increase our average prices by 10%. Now we can do that without even putting up our headline prices. So we could put up our headline prices, and most people probably could and probably should. But even without that, there are ways of increasing your average price by 10% or well more than 10%. So we can easily do that. We could increase the number of times people buy from us. Again, there's loads of ways of doing that. And the effect of doing those two things would take our turnover up from 50,000 to 73,000. We would take our gross margin up by 10%, and we can do that in 2 ways. 1, we've increased our average prices, and 2, we can work on our costs. So we can get our gross margin up by 10%. That would take our gross profit, the headline profit if you like, up from 30 to 48,000. We could work on reducing our overheads. That might not happen overnight, but again, that's very doable. So if we could get our overheads down by 10% to 9,000, our net profit, our bottom line profit, goes from 20,000 to 39,000. It's bar a tad. That is virtually doubling your bottom line profit. Now, first of all, no one says you have to stop at 10%. And if you apply these strategies, 8 strategies, one at a time over the course of the year, you'll easily get the 10%. But there's nothing to say you can't apply them more than one at a time. And there's no one to say it has to take you a year. So 10% is very doable, as is well over 10%. And you've got all these other strategies. There's actually well over 100 strategies we could apply, and we're just looking at 8 of them. So you can see that actually doubling the bottom line profit for any small business is very doable, so long as you adopt a sort of structured approach and you know what you're doing. Now, I've got a checklist or a handout I can let you have, which goes through how this works and what those 8 strategies are. And all you need to do is email me on, that's actually wrong. It should be bernard@baltimorebc.co.uk. That's a different email address. So bernard@baltimorebc.co.uk. I hope you found that useful. Thank you very much for your attention. Looks forward to speaking to you again. Cheers now.